welcome to a brand new edition of Local Focus. I'm your host, Sebastian Noel. Basketball season getting hot and heavy. Just concluded the APS Metro Tournament. So we're in the midst of things. District right around the corner. Wanted to give the girls some love this week, so why not bring in one of my favorite players to watch in the state, Sandia's Audri Wright. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
I love your game because it's so all around. Has it always been like that? Like, talk about just the evolution of your game, because you can do everything.
I mean, I feel like it's important that you have the ability to do everything, because of course everyone wants to score, but you can't win games with just scoring. Like, you need defense, you need rebounding, you need passing. Like, having all of that just really ups your game in general. So.
And have those always all been in your game, or like when did you add all those things to the bag?
I feel like they have always been in my game, but like passing, that's always been in my game.
I feel like you would be the easiest teammate to play with.
Yeah.
Like, when I watch you out there, I just think like, man, like that's just someone you want to play with, because you find everybody, you have this vision on the court. So I feel like you'd be just the easiest teammate to play with.
Yeah, I love playing with vision. I mean, I love passing. That's my favorite thing to do.
How important is that on a team that like you're on, where, I mean, that's a talented team,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Someone's got to distribute the ball,
Yeah.
right? And definitely, I think you're one of the best at that. So how important is that to have your skill set on that team?
I feel like it's important. Like, my whole team can score. Everyone can score 1v1, but we can all shoot too. So having the ability to attack and be able to, like, if someone helps, it's gonna be open. So being able to see that and my teammates being able to finish is great.
I'm just fascinated by all these different skill sets. So how do you develop those? Obviously, shooting, okay, that's a no-brainer. It's repetition, right?
Yeah.
You go in the gym and you shoot until you're good at it, right? Over and over and over and over. But how does someone become a good passer? How does someone see the court well? How do you develop that part of your game?
I feel like it just came to me. I also play soccer, which is also, I feel like it does help a lot with vision. Being able to see the whole field and the whole court, like, it just goes very well together. So.
Like, what about if you're, like, let's say you're running a camp, okay?
Yeah.
Like what drills would you do to see the court and to pass like you do? Like, you see during NBA All-Star Weekend, they're throwing shit through tires and stuff like that, right? Like, is that real? Do you do that? Or what? I mean, what makes that part of your game better? What drills can help that part of your game?
I mean, I think just, I don't know. I think it just...
Okay, you're a natural. Yeah. We get it, right?
Yeah.
But there's not everyone out there that's a natural, so how do they improve that side?
I personally look to pass before I even look to shoot. Right. So I think it's just looking around to see your options. That has a big, like, part of it. So once you develop, like, that skill, the passes will come to you.
What about film? How much film do you guys watch?
We watch a decent amount of film. I feel like it's good for us. We like to study the teams we play, know how to play defense against them, know what offense to run. I think it's a great thing to do.
Now, you said you just naturally see the court well, right? You said You feel like that's... So that obviously comes with a lot of experience. When did you first pick up a basketball?
Oh, I don't even remember the specific age, but I grew up playing basketball. I grew up watching my dad play basketball, and I think that's where I found the love for it. I think I started with, like, the YMCA or something when I was little, so...
Now, you mentioned your dad. Obviously, he played at a high level, right?
Yes, sir.
And so I'm always fascinated. I had a couple of other episodes previously who their dads also played. The fascination for me is always, did you fall in love with the game by yourself? Was it forced onto you? Was it a natural thing where he just helped? Like, which one of those things most accurately describes your situation?
I would say natural. I grew up around it.
So you're always around it, right?
Yeah. He's been playing forever, so he would take me to his games, and, like, him going to pickup, I just, like, grew up watching it, and I would even, like, play pickup with him sometimes, so I just found love for it.
When's the first time you beat him at horse, pickup, anything?
I beat him 1v1 not that long ago, like last year.
And how cool is it now? Like, okay, your dad That's kind of part of like the most famous dad fan group in the state, right? Like those Sandia dads, they sit in the front row.
Yeah.
I think they got shirts made last year, right?
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
did.
so they're like famous fans, right? How cool is it to see all those guys that all played? They're all your pops,
Yep.
and they're out there with their shirts and everything. Like they're famous, but they're all there cheering you guys on.
Yeah, we love the support. We have so many people that support us, and we think it does help. It does help with everything because we know that people have our backs and they're behind us.
Right. Is he giving you more advice on the physical part of the game, actual mechanics of shooting, of passing, of dribbling, or more advice on the mental side of the game?
I would say all of it.
Yeah.
He just wants me to be my best self and get as far as I can go. So.
Okay. So what's some of the best advice that your dad has given you, whether that be after a win or a loss?
That I just need to keep pushing and working hard because there's always going to be someone working harder than you. And if you want to achieve your goals, then you gotta go for it.
And that's another thing that I think kind of sets you guys apart a little bit from some other teams is, I mean, at least from what I've seen of you and what I've seen of Hope and some of the other girls on that team, Chloe, like you guys are in the gym a lot.
Yeah.
And that's not always the case, right? But you guys are gym rats. Talk about that.
Yeah, we love watching basketball, playing it. We feel like we want to win state. Obviously, everyone wants to win state. So we think that we put enough work into it, like it's possible.
We'll talk about that pursuit of the state championship and more when we get back.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Turbo Threads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sports shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. Turbo Threads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for Turbo Threads.
Back with Sandia's Audri Wright, we were talking about just hoops and goals, and then obviously you mentioned the state championship. That's the goal, right?
Yes, sir.
Uniquely so, I think on the girls' side, it seems like the last 10 years, there's been teams that get a group of freshman girls in that are really good, and then that starts their window, right? I remember it started at West Mesa with Maya and Emily and Jaden and all those girls and Emily. And so then that started their window, right? And it took them a little while to get, and then after that, La Cueva had their window, right? With Riley and Jersey and all those guys. And Volcano obviously had their window. And right now you're in your window, right? You guys are all juniors. Have you felt the pressure?
I mean, there's always pressure. We start off really young, which I think is an advantage for us because we have so much chemistry together. I grew up playing with half of my teammates since we were little, so I think there is a lot of pressure, but we love each other and we know that we grew up playing with each other and we have that chemistry. So.
Right. So, I mean, do you guys talk about that going into the season? Like, hey, okay, this is our third year together now, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've been through some of the slings and arrows and some of the difficulties, or do you guys just put your head down and go to work?
We really just we go out there and we play our hardest, and we know that we have lots of support and that we can do it if we really want to. So we know if we go out there with our heads high, then we can do it.
Right, and then that team that's always on the other side is always that Southern team, the Hobbs Eagles, right?
Yes, sir.
I mean, even you go back to those other teams I just mentioned, right?
Yeah.
There's always the Hobbs Eagles, right? So kudos to Coach Carpenter and what he does. Cool thing is you get to see them during the regular season now, obviously, right? So that's something you get to look forward to every year. But you have to think, no matter what, they're going to be there at the end, right?
Yeah, definitely. They're a great team, well coached. They're very disciplined. We're excited to see them. We love playing against them. It's very competitive every time.
How have you guys, since you mentioned that you guys, played together for these 3 years, how have you guys changed and gotten better and progressed every year?
I feel like we just become more connected. We're learning each other how to play with each other even more every day. Yeah.
And that didn't start, like, not everything wasn't peaches and roses at the beginning, right? Like, I mean, if we're going to be real, right? Like, there's some games that I went to where I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
They need more than one basketball out there.
Yeah.
Right? And the chemistry wasn't always great.
Yeah.
Right? So over time, though, it's gotten so much better, right? How has that happened, and what goes into that?
I think we just all realized that if we're going to win, it needs to be together, and that's when we're our best team, is when we play together.
And then you obviously bring along another huge young piece in Chloe, right?
Yes.
Who can just guard anybody, right? She's fantastic defensively. Obviously, her offense coming around as well. So then you have that one more young piece. Do you guys have all the pieces this year?
I believe that we have a very strong team, and if we all work together, we can do it.
Right. We mentioned Hobbs. Who are some of the other teams that you think will be in the way as the season kind of winds down?
I think there's many great teams. Volcano's good, La Cueva's good, Farmington's good, El Dorado's good. I think we're going to have a lot of close games that they're going to challenge us.
Right. I want to take a couple of those. First, I would be remiss if we didn't talk about El Dorado.
Yeah.
Because it seems like every time you and El Dorado take the court, social media is a buzz after the game, right?
Yeah.
Whether that's fans just going crazy in the stands, or, first of all, I mean, do you guys see that when you're on the court? Do you even hear or see what's going on in the bleachers? If people are going cray-cray in the bleachers, do you even see that?
No, I don't personally. I'm locked in on the game, so I don't hear anything on the outside.
All right. This year, obviously, the first matchup, there was some social media buzz about the way you guys were guarding Bella after the game. Do you guys hear about it, read about it? Obviously, you guys have to hear about it.
We hear about it, but we believe Bella's a great player. Her teammates have really improved, and we think that every time we play them, it's a fun game, and they give us a challenge every single time. So,
I mean, but what are your thoughts when adults are just going on and on and on and on and on about what should and shouldn't be happening out on the court? As a player, well, like, what's your perspective on all this? Like,
yeah, I just block it out. I mean, the people on the outside aren't going to do any good for us. So we know if we all just stay together and keep the noise out, that we'll succeed. So
the one I want to take one in particular, if I can, if you don't mind me going down this avenue, but I want to take one post that I found particularly interesting, and it was someone was saying something along the lines of, "Well, Sandia's got all these future D1 players. Why don't they just play her straight up, right?"
yeah,
And then I'm thinking to me, like, the object is to win the game.
yes, sir.
And so whatever defensive strategy Coach Kettig comes up with, it's to win the game, right?
Yeah.
And you guys are just out there to execute it.
Yeah.
So when an adult says something that's stupid, like, I just don't get it. But what do you guys, as a player, does it faze you at all? Or are you just like, whatever, let's roll the ball out, let's go?
It doesn't really bother us. That the game plan worked last year. It didn't work as well this year, so we changed it, and it worked out in the end. So.
And it's not exclusive to girls basketball. It's not exclusive to Bella, because I can remember doing a state semifinal game a couple of years ago, a Valley game, where Las Lunas decided they would play a double team and a face guard at half court against, I want to say, it was either Chavez or I don't remember, one of the Valley guys.
Yeah.
And so the game pretty much 4-on-3 the rest of the way, right? Mm-hmm. And that's just what it was, right? That was the strategy, and the game turned out the way it turned out. But I mean, obviously that's a very viable defense. I can remember times when Scott Bamforth was at Del Norte, a lot of teams triangle and twoing him.
Yeah.
Box and oneing him, right? And so this notion on social media that somehow because you paid for a ticket, that you shouldn't see that, like it just baffles my mind. But all right, we're going to put that to bed.
Okay.
All right. The other teams you mentioned, Farmington still has a couple of Anatialu sisters left, right?
Yes.
That, I would imagine for your team, that's a fun opponent just because it's up and down, right? So talk about those matchups.
We're both fast teams. The sisters, they're good. They're good. They can shoot. They can run. They can handle the ball. It's fun playing them. I love guarding Sugar. I think they give us a game every time too.
Right. And then obviously that's a cool place to play. I mean, especially when it's full up there.
Yeah.
They get loud. It gets crazy. Talk about that environment up in Farmington.
We love playing in Farmington. Honestly, I'd probably say that's our favorite place to play just because of the environment. It gives us a challenge because we know that if we make it to the pit, like it's gonna be packed like that. So.
And I think it does help you get ready a little bit because the fans, it's a good team. You already have a foul once you get off the bus, it seems like, in Farmington, right? The officiating in Farmington, I won't go there, but it can get crazy, right?
Yeah.
So it's a really good test to get you ready for those hostile games, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned La Cueva, right? Obviously, Eva's still there. They got some nice pieces. That's a nice rivalry, too.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about that rivalry.
That we haven't beat them yet,
but
Jordan and Eva, both great players. They both give us a game every time. Hopefully, it'll be a good game this year.
I did have Jordan on earlier in the season, and we did talk about that. Hey, this is a rivalry, but they've mentioned that they've won all those games, right? So is that kind of step one for this year on the way to your end goal? Is step one's got to be we got to get past these guys?
Yeah, no, I definitely think it is. It's a rivalry. We love playing them.
It's different than Farmington, right? Because Farmington wants to get up and down, but it feels like those La Cueva games are physical.
They are.
They just want to play defense. And offensively, sometimes they're tough to watch.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it is rough to watch.
Yeah.
But defensively, they get after it. So those games with you guys tend to be so physical. Talk about those games.
Yeah, I agree. I think that we're both very good defensive teams and offensive. They're greatly coached, I think. So
is that the toughest defense you guys play every year, you think? If you had to put it, I mean, I know Hobbs is very good also, but defensively, is that the toughest or most physical defense you play every year?
I would say so. I'd say they're one of the top teams that it's fun to play defense against.
All right, we'll take another break. When we get back, top 5 things we don't know about Audri, and we'll preview the rest of the schedule as well.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number 1 in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mirror here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Like me, shorty, you got my attention. See your baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Back with Sandia's Audri Wright. Top 5 list coming up here. It's that time of the program. Top 5 things we don't know about you. Number 5.
All right, I'll start with, I like traveling a lot. I just recently came back I went to Greece this summer, and then last Christmas break, luckily I got to go to Paris. So
Okay. What's the coolest place you've ever been to?
that's a hard one. I really like both,
Okay.
but I think I'd probably say Greece just because the oceans and everything.
All right.
It was cool.
And what's on your list for next? Like, what are your next couple of check-the-box destinations?
I want to go to Brazil. I feel
Okay.
like that'd be a cool place to go.
All right. And what else?
Probably somewhere in Mexico.
Okay. All right. Very
Yeah.
nice. Cool. Those are some good spots. All right. Number 4.
Okay, not a lot of people know that I play soccer too. I just recently quit this last year.
Okay.
but,
When
yeah.
did that start?
Soccer was my first sport, so I think I started when I was like maybe a year old, like with like little kickers. But it's been like, it was my main sport for a long time until.
You think that helps with the vision on the court?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it helps with a lot of things like conditioning, foot skills, like all of it.
When did you give up soccer?
Just as last year.
Okay.
Yeah, I quit playing club soccer my 8th grade year, and then I just stopped playing high school this last year.
Okay. All right. Number 3.
I grew up playing with a lot of my teammates, like with my Sandia teammates. I grew up playing with a lot of them.
So like all the way back to way back.
Like my first basketball team, I've been playing with Chloe Brown since I was probably 8 years old.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So has that helped? I mean, has that helped with the chemistry and all that?
I definitely think it does, especially like with relationships outside of basketball. We all know each other so well that it just
You guys are
clicks.
close. You guys are. It seems like you guys are always together.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right. Number 2.
I don't think a lot of people know that. Like I grew up like with Coach Brown coaching me. He was my coach for a long time. I think he was my first basketball coach.
So, like, do you have any good stories about him, or?
I don't know. All I can tell you is he made us cry a lot.
I could see that.
Yeah, he made us cry a lot.
Was he a little more mellow, or on the girls' side, or is he the same? And,
I'd probably say the same.
yeah.
Yeah.
It made you cry a lot.
Yeah, but I definitely think it helps me with the player I am
Okay.
today.
All right. Is that someone you can still go to advice-wise? Because obviously he's on campus there. and-
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Okay. All right. Coach Brown making you cry a lot. I love it. Number 2. All right. Number 1 thing that we don't know about you.
I also like to do photography when I'm not like playing basketball.
Okay. What are we talking about? Like nature photography, action sports photography? What kind of photography are we talking about?
I do a little bit of all, but
Okay.
I like to go to like high school games and take pictures of like I take a lot of pictures of our Sandia boys and
Right.
like Volcano boys. I've taken a picture.
Okay.
Yeah, a couple.
And is that something that you maybe want to pursue in the future?
I think I'd be interested in it. I'm not 100% sure yet, but it definitely has my interest.
Okay. All right. And what brought you to that?
I don't know. I just kind of I like taking pictures. Like I'd always like taking like videos of my dad, like just like little highlight tapes on his phone. So I thought my mom had like a camera, and then I was just like, well, why not try to
Right.
take pictures? And then I just
Very
continued
cool. That is a very cool top 5 list. One of the things I want to talk about a little bit more there is the soccer piece.
Yes.
That's obviously another sport there at Sandia that's very competitive always,
Yeah.
right? How good were you at soccer?
I think I was pretty good.
Was that tough to give up?
It was definitely hard to give up. My whole mom's side of the family is like soccer. So it was hard to give up, but I knew that basketball was the sport I wanted to play in college and that I needed to focus on.
When you stop soccer, they say soccer is the best cardio sport, right? They say soccer players are in the best shape at all times. When you stopped soccer, did you notice a drop off at that point? You're like, oh, I got to do more to stay in shape now.
A little bit. I definitely think soccer helped me a lot with like staying in shape. Like I could feel it when I was running, like during soccer season. I could feel it when I was playing basketball. Like it felt so much easier.
You talked about wanting to play in college, obviously. So what? And obviously your dad played at a very high level, so he's there to support that whole process. Your parents, obviously, the support system. So what goes into that? What schools have you started to kind of reach out to? You're sending highlights. What does that whole decision process look like the next 2 years?
It's complicated. I have an offer from Western New Mexico and Trinidad State in Colorado. I've been talking to a couple of schools. It's all just about communication and playing hard, and you just have to want it.
And then how much of it is literally you just, because I've talked to other guys about this, and they're like, yeah, you got to just send out tape to everybody.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize how much of the legwork you have to do by yourself, right? So talk about that side of it.
I think that it is a huge part. You have to reach out to coaches because they're not going to just find you out of nowhere.
Right.
Like, if you have interest in certain colleges, like you're going to want to reach out because that's how they get to know your name, and they maybe they'll catch one of your games and see, like, find interest in you.
So would you rather stay in state or go out of state?
I personally want to leave state, but I mean, whatever is the best for me.
Obviously, just you got a couple years left. So what are you working on this year to improve in your game?
I think just being more aggressive and more confident. My defense has really improved, I think, over the years. So I think I want to get a little better at like attacking and finishing at the basket because I feel like I have everything else pretty good. So.
And then how does that work during the off season? I mean, who are you working out with during the off season? What does that whole process look like?
I just recently I was playing with a team in El Paso, Texas, named Fusion. They helped me a lot. I think their coach really helped me improve. But in terms of working out, everywhere, just whoever I could get in with.
What about I know on the guys' side, a lot of the guys from different teams, they end up playing together, working out together, doing a lot of stuff together. Is the same thing on the girls' side? There's a couple of handful of you guys, obviously, in the city that are going to be playing at the next level, right? So do you guys make each other better that way, or you just kind of do your own thing?
I think we definitely do. We all have our different paths, but when it comes together and playing each other, I think it's definitely competitive, and we all give each other a challenge.
All right, last question now. All right, to be lifting the blue trophy at the end of the season, what does your team have to do that?
I think we just got to stick together and believe that we can do it, and it'll come possible.
Well, good luck this week. I know district play right around the corner, but best of luck. We'll be watching the rest of the way. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for watching, everybody. Good night.